Shout out to all of y'all who said under on the plus minus on 510. F all of y'all who said over. I know who my ride or dies are. I know who they are now. Appreciate y'all coming and checking out the kid here on the 301st installment of the Louie T Network podcast that starts right about now. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 301st installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Mine was fan-effing-tastic. Great food, great football. As always, great family and friends and faith. The 5 F's on full display like it always is. I got no complaints. Hope yours was as enjoyable as mine was. I really enjoyed the football a lot more than I thought I was going to. The first game, I knew the Lions were playing better. Didn't expect them to push the Bills to the brink of destruction there, but they got it done in typical Bills fashion. They found a way to get it done. Giants hung around, made it a much more competitive game than I thought they were going to. But the Dallas Cowboys were the better team, and they got it done, and they prevailed. And then in the nightcap, I really did not expect the New England Patriots to be as competitive offensively. I knew the defense would give them a shot, and they didn't really. The defense was atrocious. They gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown. I didn't see that being a shootout. I didn't see that being the highest scoring game of the evening or the day. I was wrong about that, but I didn't know Minnesota was going to win. And so it was a great day of football. College football was good on over the weekend. Michigan, what a surprise there. Going to Ohio State and destroying the Buckeyes. The first time the Wolverines had won in Columbus since 2000. Are you kidding me? Wow. What a victory there. And so that sets the stage for this wild weekend of college football with all these championship games. I think the 4 teams that are in right now are the 4 best teams. I watched TCU destroy Iowa State. I'm a Notre Dame fan, you know that. So I watched USC beat Notre Dame. I was so frustrated because I wanted to beat SC so bad. And we had our opportunities. We had our chances. Caleb Williams is so good. I want to not like him so bad. Damn, he's good. I really want to not like him. But he's good, man. And so the 4 teams right now, Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC, I think those are the 4 best teams right now. Now, you could argue Ohio State should be in that mix, but here's the argument you can't make. You can't lose at home in the fashion that you did by as many points as you did and expect anyone to make an argument for you as a 1-loss team. Not when everyone else in there is undefeated and then there's a 1-loss USC team in there who lost by like 3 or 4 points on the road at Utah, who's not a bad football team. So it is what it is. They're a 1-loss Pac-12 champion. More likely than not, they're going to win that Pac-12 championship. Tough titty, said the kitty, but the milk's still good. That's what a wise man once told me. You want to win? You had a chance. You were at the crib and you got destroyed. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the gem dropping session. I don't want to hold y'all longer than I need to today. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind. Let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. What's y'all favorite Thanksgiving dish? That's on a side note. I just want to ask y'all. I'll scan it as I'm, going through the comment section. What's y'all favorite Thanksgiving dish? For me, I make yams every year, and they're vegan yams, but you wouldn't be able to tell. All the food that I make, you wouldn't be able to tell it's vegan. You would have no idea. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. My yams are, I told you I put my yams up against anybody else's yams. That's just how I feel about my yams. They're bomb. It never lasts past 2 days, and I make a big pan, one of those big, deep, long styrofoam pans that you get from the dollar store. Gone in 2 days. And anyway, I digress. So I wanted to ask you guys a question, because to me, shit gets real after Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, it ain't no more, hey, still a lot of football left to be played. That shit's out the window. Okay. When we get to Thanksgiving and we play those games and everybody has to play in week 12 for Thanksgiving, there are no bye weeks. Now we go back to bye weeks. Isn't that crazy? For 1 week, the NFL's like everybody's playing. And then you go back to bye weeks in 13 and 14, and then they're all done. And then everybody's got to play the final, 4 weeks of the season. To me, once you get to Thanksgiving, all bets are off now. At this point, we know who you are. We know who the contenders are. We know who the pretenders are. There are a couple that are still kind of hovering and toting that line, like the Giants, for instance. They're going to show this week. We're going to find out if the Giants are serious about making this thing interesting, or are they going to bow out gracefully. It's been a fun run, but we're going to find out about the Giants this week at home. We're going to find out a lot about the Giants. Seattle, okay? You're at home. Rams are done. They're dead. They're cooked. Stick a fork in them. They're done. Aaron Donald not playing. Matthew Stafford not playing. Allen Robinson just had surgery. He's done for the season. They have nothing. You're at home, and you're going to LA. Do those boys. That game shouldn't even be close. You should devour them. Are you serious or not? Let me know. So we'll find out. Patriots, you're hanging around 6-5. Bills are coming to town on Thursday Night Football. Both of you played on Thanksgiving. Are you serious or what? Because I still think you're a pretender. Are you serious about hanging around and making it interesting? How about the Chargers? Like, there are a few teams that are, looking to still, we're trying to figure them out. We still don't really know. But for the most part, we kind of have a sense of who's serious. All right. I want to know, who are the most dangerous teams? One in each conference. All right. Who are the most dangerous teams in your mind? Now, this is a great question to ask right now, but the answer is fluid, because you could give me a team this week, and then next week, that might change, right? So I'll give you a great example of what I mean. If you would have asked this question this time last year, or somewhere round about this area, week 13, 14, sometime in that general vicinity, if you would have asked the question, most dangerous team, especially in the AFC, last year, you would have said, oh, Indianapolis. Nobody wants to play the Colts. Jonathan Taylor's running all over everybody. Carson Wentz taking care of the football. That defense is filthy. It's nasty. Don't want to play Indy. They didn't even make the playoffs last year, okay? So it could change. I want one from each conference. All right. As you guys start formulating your answers, I want to see what you guys have to say about Thanksgiving food. I asked you, what was your favorite Thanksgiving dish? I want to see what you guys have to say. So, Eddie Clayton says yams. All right. Love it, Eddie. Commander Wow says yams. I love it. So I think a lot of us are on the same page. Molly Mall says mac and cheese. Can't go wrong with that. If it's made correctly, can't go wrong with mac and cheese. James Jones says my favorite Thanksgiving dish is eagle. I like it. I like it a lot. Baron Von Monkey says mashed sweet potatoes. Is that not yams? Maybe. I'm going to leave that one alone. Jay Rib says potatoes, salad, and honey smoked ham. Okay, that's different. Commander Wow says turkey wangs and gravy. So you got to put the wangs on it. You got to have a little twang to it. I ain't mad at you. Miss Perry says yams. Okay, again, to me, mac and cheese from Ebony the Goddess. Eddie Clayton says potato salad. So let me take a time out there. Let me get a 30-second. With Eddie Clayton saying potato salad. I have a problem with potato salad. Now, my mom made potato salad. She makes it every year. But I want to throw the challenge flag on this one. Is potato salad actually a Thanksgiving dish? Is that like, to me, that's more of a cookout, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Let me get a burger, some, or a hot dog, and let me get a little bit of potato salad on the side. It's like a gathering or a cookout type of dish. I don't know if I really look at, like, I was talking to my uncle. Me and my uncle went Black Friday shopping. And I asked him what he made, because he was supposed to come to our house and he decided he wanted to have a little small intimate Thanksgiving with his fiance. I was like, okay, cool beans. I'll catch up with you for Black Friday. And so we were out shopping and we were in the line, and I asked him, what would you make? And he told me, I'm like, bro, what the F? That's not even traditional things. Like, you just cook random shit. He's like, yeah, I don't want a whole bunch of extra food. And I'm like, that's not an excuse though. He was like, he made wings. He made sawfish. He made like random shit. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, that's not Thanksgiving. Potato salad, I think, falls in that category. Look, I could be wrong. And I think potato salad may be a staple for many. I'm not a potato salad guy necessarily. If we keeping it a buck, hey, y'all, don't tell my mom this, but my mom's potato salad is trash. But some people like it. I've had potato salad that's really good. My mom's is not that. But hey, y'all ain't hear that from me. Y'all zip that up. Again, as long as y'all don't tell my mom, we good. But I don't know about potato salad, man. I just feel like that's a cookout dish. It ain't really a Thanksgiving dish. You'll never catch it on my plate. That's for sure. Anyway, I digress. Kevin the PRF says, does dessert count? Why the hell not? He says, I've been making chocolate bourbon pecan pie. So is it pecan or pecan? Is it pecan or pecan? Look, man, these are the things that I think about on a daily basis. I'm a pecan pie guy. Pecan sounds too je ne sais quoi. Sounds too uppity. It's pecan. But I know a lot of people who say pecan. It's whatever, man. Potatoes, tomatoes, whatever. Pecan pie sounds good. I've never actually made it. But you know what? That's something that I might try one day, because it probably tastes really good. He says, from scratch, every Thanksgiving, about 10 years now, my family savagely devours. Sounds good, man. I'm not a big chocolate guy. And putting that combination together with pecans, I don't know about that. But I trust you. And if you tell me your family savagely devours it every year, I'd like to have a slice. Obviously, it's not vegan, so I wouldn't be able to rock with it, but sounds good. FL2 says duck is 10 times better than turkey as a meat. Well, as my girl Condo P told y'all, or she said, happy Tofurkey Day. I'm not actually eating tofurkey. I'm eating something else, but it's similar, very similar. I'm not eating turkey anymore, obviously, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever had duck. I forgot what I did have, and it tasted really gamey. Ugh. I don't think it was duck though. It was deer. I had venison, and it was very gamey. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I've heard duck tastes like chicken though, and it's really good. Commander Wow says, I saw a yams, mac, and greens turkey gravy egg roll. People do have too much time on their hands. Yeah, that's a little too much for me. That's a bit extreme. Anyway, I digress. All right, so I asked a question. I wanted you guys to respond. 2 most dangerous teams in the league right now, 1 for each conference, as we head into week 13. Kyle says Bengals and 49ers. Okay. Bengals get a big win on the road. We'll talk about that here in a second. Over the Titans. 49ers, we know how well they're playing. I think a lot of people are going to say 49ers, and rightfully so. Jay Riv, speaking of Niners and Bills, again, can't go wrong there. Kevin the PRF He goes Niners and Chiefs. Again, two really good selections there. James Jones says Bills, and in the NFC, it's up for grabs. It's tricky each week. HHC Lunar says 49ers and Dolphins and sweet potatoes. Okay. Sweet potatoes. Got one from Mike Lowry. He says honey baked turkey. That actually sounds really good. I've never had it. Billy Mack says tamales, hot tamales. Okay. That sounds like another, but again, that might be a different, tradition for someone else. That sounds like something that's not necessarily a Thanksgiving food, but anyway, I digress. All right. Anyway, so Chaotic says Chiefs and Niners. I'm going to give you my two teams. All of yours were really good, and I could give you reasons as to why all of you are right. Nobody had anything crazy outside of the box. In the AFC, I think it's pretty cut and dry for me right now. Now, I might have a different answer after this week's contest because the Dolphins are going to play the 49ers. They're going to San Francisco to play the 49ers this week. To me, that should have been flexed into Sunday Night Football. I've already made that abundantly clear. I don't know why they're forcing Colts at Cowboys down our throats. I have no interest in that game. I know what the Cowboys are going to do to the Indianapolis Colts. If that game were in Indy, maybe it could be kept close and they might have a chance like they did Philadelphia, but on the road, that team's going to fall apart. Matt Ryan is going to be gobbled up by that pass rush. They're going to lose that game by at least 2 scores, probably 3. I don't know why we're watching that game. Instead, and this is a perfect opportunity. That game in San Francisco is being played at 4:00. You could have easily moved that back to 8:20. I don't know why it didn't happen, but again, it is what it is. That game is the biggest game on the marquee this week. Dolphins at Niners. One of the most dangerous teams in the NFC right now, playing arguably the most dangerous team in the AFC right now. Obviously, the team that's scoring the most points in the league, the Miami Dolphins. They had 30 points at halftime, didn't score another point, took their foot completely off the gas pedal against the Texans. It was 30-0 at halftime before they took their foot off the proverbial gas. So that Dolphins offense is just ridiculous right now. If they beat San Francisco, if they go into San Francisco and beat them, they're the most dangerous team in the AFC, if you ask me. But right now, it's got to be Kansas City. They're the number 1 seed. And yeah, they lost to Buffalo, but they found ways to win. And if they find a way to hold on to that number 1 seed and all roads to the Super Bowl go through Arrowhead yet again, it's going to be tough. Now, we know that they're capable of being beaten, and I'm going to find out a lot about them because the team that seems to be their kryptonite in the AFC, they're playing them this week in Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat them each of the last 2 regular seasons in Cincinnati, okay? Then they went to Arrowhead and beat them in the playoffs in the AFC Championship game after trailing by 18 at halftime, 21-3. If there's a team that knows how to beat Kansas City, it's these Chiefs or Bengals, and they played them this week. So I'm going to have some clarity in the AFC, but right now I'm sticking with the Chiefs until someone knocks them off. But if the Dolphins go to San Francisco and win, I think it may be the Dolphins. We'll have to come back to that, but I'm sticking with the Chiefs for right now. In the NFC, it's a much tougher discussion. Obviously, the Eagles are 10-1. And the fact that no one mentioned the Eagles, I think some of that is hate. A lot of us can't stand the Eagles, so you just dismiss them. But if the Eagles were playing dominant football, if the Eagles were devouring teams, if the Eagles didn't have issues defensively and now maybe on special teams as well, maybe we're not overlooking them, dismissing them. Okay? Because that's what's happening. We're dismissing them. They're 10-1. But we're overlooking them because we think they have issues and we don't think they're dominant. We don't think they're the most dangerous team. We could see someone going into Philadelphia and winning. I think right now, the most dangerous team is the 49ers. And I think a lot of you feel the same way. The defense hasn't given up a single point in the second half of a game in a month now. But to my guy Niners fans' point, they haven't played anyone. It doesn't matter. You know how hard it is to not give up a single point in the second half of a game in a month, essentially, in the NFL? Do you know how hard that's to do? All someone has to do, all you have to do is turn it over once or give up a big return or give up one big play and someone kick a field goal. That hasn't happened. And part of the reason why that hasn't happened is because they're kicking people's ass to the point where a field goal doesn't do you any good. You got to go for it on fourth down, and teams aren't converting. Now, the Saints got all the way down to the literally to the end zone twice and got turned away. Once on a fumble, on a vicious hit that forced that ball out. And then a mad scramble and dash for it. But I think it's the 49ers. I think it's the 49ers right now. They're running the football. I still look at Jimmy Garoppolo and say, bro, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, am I supposed to be afraid of him? But it's not just Jimmy. It's the entire collection of talent that they have in San Francisco and the guy calling the shots. I am a huge Kyle Shanahan fan. I think D'Amico Ryans is doing a masterful job as their defensive coordinator. He will get some looks similar to Robert Saleh. I think San Francisco's turning into the new Carolina, what the Panthers were as a factory for defensive coordinators getting jobs. Remember when Ron was there, it seemed like every offseason, the next guy up as the defensive coordinator was getting a job. It happened with Sean McDermott. Then it was Steve Wilkes. I think that may happen again. And in a day and age in the NFL where defensive coaches aren't necessarily the hottest ticket item, right? It's the offensive coordinator. They're the flavor of the day. To see defensive coordinators potentially be hired 2 times in 3 coaching cycles speaks volumes as to what they're doing in San Francisco potentially. So we'll see what happens with D'Amico Ryans. But then, Trent Williams, the most dominant offensive lineman in football. Deebo Samuel, best yards after catch guy or just yards after contact guy. Same with George Kittle at the tight end position. Christian McCaffrey's a freak. And so you sprinkle in some Brandon Ayuk and a little bit of Juwan Jennings, and you're like, man, this is the makings of a really problematic football team. Jimmy G doesn't have to do a lot. Just don't turn it over. That's it. Anyway, I think those are the 2 teams, man. I think you guys are on to something. Most of you said San Francisco in your answer, and I concur. Right now, Chiefs, Niners for me. But I'm going to reevaluate this next week because if the Dolphins go on the road and win, no matter what the Chiefs do, if the Dolphins go on the road next week with that offense, I may have to rethink my decision. But again, we will see. Anyway, let's get to our next segment. Hope you guys are ready. I always got my rollerblades right next to me. They never that far away. So I'm going to throw these bad boys on real quick. Strap them up nice and tight, and we're going to hit the road, man. Hit this pavement, all right? We about to go Slate Skatin, week number 12 in the National Football League. And because we didn't talk since Thanksgiving, we're going to go over those Thanksgiving games as well. And we'll try to do this quick. I say that every week, and then we end up spending an hour. I'm going to go over these very quickly. So I hope you're ready. We going to be moving on this pavement, man. I'm gone. I'm here with it. I'm like this. Head down, and I'm gone. All right, so keep up. All right, we start Thanksgiving, first game, Bills, Lions. Man, this was a fun one. You thought the Bills at some point would pull away. And after the Jared Goff safety that made it 19-14, I was like, okay, here we go. They're going to kick it to him. But that pass rush was on Josh Allen's ass, okay? And you know what? There's a guy right now that I can only help but laugh every time he makes a play because he's killing it this year. And it's I think it's Aleem McNeil. If The reason why you should remember this guy, Aleem McNeil, is because Howie Roseman traded back in the draft, and everybody in the war room wanted Aleem McNeil. And Howie was doing the Howie Roseman thing where he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room and he trades back. And he thought he was still going to get Aleem McNeil and pick up some more draft capital. And the Lions took him one pick before Philadelphia because Philadelphia was in a position to take him. They moved back like 3 spots, and the Lions took him right before they got him. And everybody in the war room was pissed off. Howie's got his hand up, ready to high five, right? And everybody's like, man, get your damn hand down, man. We just lost the guy that we wanted. And Howie's like, what? Come on, give me a high five. Don't leave me hanging here, man. And it was so funny. Everybody, that was the meme and the running joke that was going around after the draft was, Howie Roseman getting left hanging, right? Aleem McNeil is killing it this year. I mean, killing it. I think he had 2 sacks on Thanksgiving. Nobody can block this dude. And could you imagine if he was on that Eagles defensive line? Well, they effed that up. And the biggest beneficiaries are the Detroit Lions. It was him and the rest of that line. The Bills had no answer. And all of a sudden now the Bills are struggling up front on the offensive line. They can't seem to protect Josh Allen. He's running around for his life every week. And that defensive line kept the Lions in this game and ultimately helped give them the lead 22-19 in this game. They went for 2. They got it. They took a 3-point lead. And I told my dad, we were all sitting there watching the game, sisters, everybody, like, they're going to win this game, guys. They're going to win this game. And of course, they get the touchdown to give them the lead, 25-22. And the Bills just wouldn't go, or the Lions just wouldn't go away. They kick a field goal. And as fate would have it, I said they left too much time. And it's crazy that 23 seconds is too much time. But you got to know who your opponent is. Know thy opponent. If you're playing Washington or Atlanta, this game's going to overtime. You're playing Patrick Mahomes. You're playing Josh Allen. 23 seconds is an eternity. You're about to lose the football game. Anyway, of course, they got in the field goal range. Stephon Diggs with a big catch over the middle of the field. Josh Allen with a run, timeout, 45-yard Tyler Bass field goal. God bless and good night. Bills escape 28-25 to kick off what was a great day of Thanksgiving football. They're now 8-3 on the season, are the Bills. Still trailing the Miami Dolphins in that division as the Dolphins continue to play exceptional football. They're 8-3, but remember, they beat Buffalo earlier this season. Lions had won 3 in a row. That is over, and so is their hopes of making the playoffs as they are now 4-7. Had they won, they'd be 5-6, and all of a sudden, hey, don't sleep on the Lions, but they're dead now at 4-7. But they're fighting for Dan Campbell. Just know that. At one point, we were wondering, is this guy going to get fired? Nah. They're fighting for him. Giants, Cowboys. Really good football game. The Giants, they had every opportunity, I swear to you, in the first half of this game to really put pressure on Dallas and make this outcome different. Dallas went for it in their own territory on 4th down. They failed. They picked off Dak Prescott twice. I think they picked him off twice. Let me check and see, just to be sure. I know one of them they picked off and they had great field position. Yeah, they picked him off twice, had excellent field position, settled for a field goal. On the failed 4th down, they didn't even get any points out of that. They ended up having a punt. They scored a touchdown on the play that got called back because of a penalty, had to settle for it. Like, they made sure that they weren't going to win the game. They made so many mistakes, missed so many opportunities. They should have been up big on Dallas, who struggled out of the gate in that game. They gave Dallas every opportunity to take that football game, and the Cowboys did in the second half, specifically in the 4th quarter, where they really started to get after them, especially with the tight ends. The Giants didn't have any answers for the Cowboys tight ends in this game. And so Peyton Hendershot scored, Dalton Schultz scored a touchdown, and Zeke Elliott had one of his best games of the season. All this chatter about, and rightfully so, I'm a big Tony Pollard fan, and Zeke gets out there and he's averaging like 7-8 yards a pop. They couldn't stop Zeke. CeeDee Lamb had a big game. With the corner situation being what it was in New York, I was shocked they kept giving CeeDee Lamb one-on-one with these young corners who were untested. CeeDee ate them alive. 6 catches, 106 yards. Cowboys win the game 28-20, and they improve to 8-3 on the season and take over sole possession, up second place from the Giants, who are now 7-4 on the season in the NFC East. Probably the most surprising of the 3 Thanksgiving games was this Vikings and Patriots game. Maybe for me. I can't speak for you. Maybe you thought New England was going to show up and score points, something they really haven't done this season. Mind you, they scored a whole 10 points last week, and 7 of them came on the final play of the game, which was a punt return for a touchdown. Like, I didn't see this coming. But then again, Minnesota's defense isn't all that great. So I shouldn't have been surprised that New England went in there and confidently moved the football up and down the field on them and made this a ball game. But when it was all said and done, big kick return by Kene Nwangwu to kick off the second half, scoring for the Minnesota Vikings after the Patriots had just taken the lead 23-16. Kirk Cousins was really good in this game, man. There are a lot of Kirk Cousins haters out there. Kirk was 30 of 37 for 299, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. There was no help from the run game. Like Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 42 yards. You know Bill Belichick's going to take something away. And he elected to take Dalvin Cook away. Couldn't help that Justin Jefferson went off. Thielen had a solid game. Hawkinson is a problem now. And all of them scored touchdowns. Hawkinson, Thielen, and Jefferson. But he wasn't going to let Dalvin Cook win the game. He said, I'm going to make Kirk Cousins beat us. And Kirk did. And he made throw after throw after throw in this game. And this was a fun game to watch, man. I actually thought that, and I told my dad it was crazy. I told Boss, I said, first to 33 wins. That was the magic number. Vikings made it to 33. They win 33-26. And this gives me a different perspective on the Patriots if they can continue to play that brand of offensive football. That was the first time in a long time that I thought they looked competent on offense. So if they can do that more often, this team will have a shot because they can play defense. Commanders hosting the Falcons. This was a massive game in the NFC. Falcons were in the 9 hole. Commanders came into the game in the 8 hole, right on the outside looking in of the postseason. A win for Washington would have made it 3 straight and also gave them an opportunity to get into the playoffs with the Seahawks loss. Both things happened as Washington won this football game 19-13 over the Falcons, and this was hard fought. It was rainy. It was physical. Both teams ran the hell out of the football. Washington ran the football 20 or 37 times for 176 yards. Meanwhile, the Falcons ran it 29 times for 167 yards. The Falcons had 100 yards of rush offense in the first half before Washington made some adjustments to try to slow them down. But this game was all about run game and defense, and both things came to the table for both teams. Washington had opportunities to put Atlanta away, couldn't take advantage, and the Falcons hung around as they've done all season long, gave themselves a fighting chance, had the football. Mariota looks like he's about to be sacked on the final possession offensively for the Falcons. Ducks under, Deron Payne, gets up, throws a BB to Olamide Zaccheaus, who then runs for 45 yards into Washington territory to the 25. And Washington has to start using their timeouts. Mind you, it's a 6-point game, 19-13, a touchdown and an extra point gets you beat. And they move it all the way down, 1st and goal to the Washington 3-yard line. They try read option, which Marcus Mariota had been killing Washington on. 6 carries, 49 yards in the game for Mariota. And James Smith-Williams makes a big play. Doesn't actually get the sack, but he does hold Mariota up. He loses a yard on the play. They throw it on the next play. Deron Payne, it would have been a touchdown. Cordero Patterson would have gotten into the end zone. Deron Payne bats it in the air, and Johnny on the spot. Kendall Fuller picks it off to preserve the victory. Falcons also capped it off with a roughing the kicker or running into the kicker. We only needed 3 yards on 4th down and 3. The 5 yards gave them the first down and the opportunity to get into the victory formation. Falcons drop to 5-7. Washington extends their win streak to 3 at 7-5. Buccaneers and Browns, one of the most surprising outcomes of week number 12. I think Jacksonville over Baltimore is the most surprising. I think this is a close second. Look, the Buccaneers are struggling. We knew this going into the game, but you still thought they had enough to go on the road and beat Cleveland. It didn't need to be pretty. Just slow down Nick Chubb, and you should win the football game. Apparently, the Buccaneers did not get the memo as Nick Chubb went over 100 yards. Anyway, the Bucs had the Browns. It's 4th and 10 from about the 15-yard line, and with 23 seconds left, and Jacoby Brissett throws a prayer in the back of the end zone to tight end David Njoku, who goes up with one hand and somehow corrals it, pulls it down to cut the deficit to 1 pending the extra point. You can never just assume extra points anymore. Their kicker makes it, ties the game up at 17, and we go to overtime. And I thought the Bucs would win it in overtime, and they had opportunities, man. They had great field position. They got a couple of stops. They had excellent field position. And this offense just stinks right now. My God, it stinks. And I've already said what I needed to say on Tampa. So they didn't get it done. And the Browns got it one final time in overtime, drove it down the field, and Nick Chubb caps off what was a good day for him. 26 carries, 116 yards. And his lone touchdown of the game winner, 23-17. Bucs dropped to 5-6, had a golden opportunity with Atlanta losing, the Saints losing, and the Panthers just, kind of being the Panthers. They had a great opportunity to run away. Like, take a 2-game lead on everybody else in the division, and it's over. Instead, they're 5-6. Atlanta's 5-7. And so they're still in first place, if I'm not mistaken, but only by a half game because Atlanta hasn't had their bye week yet. I've continued to say that the Bucs are going to win that division. I still believe that, but I'm not as gung-ho on that as I once was. At one point, you couldn't convince me that anybody else in that division had a chance. They played the Saints on Monday night. This has been the annual ass-whooping game every year for the Bucs. Saints on national television. Doesn't matter where the game is. New Orleans. Normally, it's in Tampa, and it's an ass-whooping KO in the first half, and you don't even need to watch the second half. I think they shut them out last year. That was the game where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gets in Tom Brady's face and is posing, standing up with his arms folded like, bro, really? 2 years ago, that was the year they won the Super Bowl. They thrashed them like 38-3, 31-3. I think it was like 27-0 or 24-0 at halftime of that game last year or 2 years ago. So this is usually the annual ass whooping game where the Saints come to town and pillage, and plunder the Buccaneers. Arr, matey. And they come in there and make them walk the damn plank. We'll see if they do that again, but the Saints are just a hop, skip, and a jump from first place. And don't look now, so are the Carolina Panthers, who won against the Denver Broncos. We'll get to that game a little bit later, but the Bucs, they spoiled a golden opportunity, and it's for the Browns. At 4-7, you're dead. You're not going to, win anything of substance in the AFC, but Deshaun Watson comes back this week. So we'll see what that means for them. I don't think it means much of anything. Again, they'd have to win out and have some help in order to make the playoffs. They're not winning out with Deshaun Watson back in the lineup, but we're going to get a glimpse of what this team may look like moving forward with Deshaun Watson under center. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. Hasn't played football in pretty much 2 years. So I think he's going to struggle a bit out of the gate, but we'll see what happens with them. They're 4-7 are the Browns. A big game in the AFC here. Bengals at the Titans. Bengals get the win 20-16. No Jamar Chase, no Joe Mixon in this game for the Bengals. No problem. All right, find a way to get it done. They went back to the scene of the crime last year where they were able to execute the yellow tape on the Tennessee Titans in the AFC divisional round playoff game last season, and they went back and did it again. T. Higgins was the main culprit in this game. 7 catches, 114 yards, and the go-ahead game-winning score as they win this game 20-16. The Titans just, again, continue to struggle. When Derrick Henry doesn't run the football, this offense really doesn't have a chance. 17 carries, 38 yards for Derrick Henry. If I'm playing the Titans, I'm going to dare Ryan Tannehill to beat me. And if he does, you got me. I just don't think he's capable of doing it. He wasn't able to do it in this game. And I don't think a lot of people give the Bengals defense credit. It's a good Bengals unit, man. And when they're healthy and they've got all their guys out there running around, this is a group that can really cause some problems, man. And they got it done in this game. 20-16. Don't look now, but remember, this was a team that started 0-2 and people were writing them off. The Bengals are now 7-4, and with the Ravens' loss, they're climbing ever so close to the top of that AFC North division. They're now tied with the Ravens at 7-4. So don't look now. The Titans are going to win the AFC South. There isn't another team in that division worth a damn. They're 7-4, and they're 3 games clear of everybody else in the division. But the Bengals are in a very competitive division, and they're now making it, it's a 2-team race. Obviously, the Browns, we just talked about them. They're 4-7. The Steelers are 4-7. So it's just between them two. But shit just got interesting with this win and the Bengals or the Ravens losing to the Jaguars. Speaking of which, let's go there next. Ravens, Jags. Ravens, this game started with a thunderstorm that delayed the game. And so I got home late and I turned it on, and Washington is in the second quarter, and this game is 12 minutes and 15 seconds into the first. And I'm like, I had to look at my phone to make sure that I was live. Am I live? Is this legit? It was live, and the game started late. But the Jags just wouldn't go away. The Ravens had ample opportunities. They kept getting into the red zone. They kept having to settle for Justin Tucker field goals. He kicked a 27-yard field goal. He kicked a 29-yard field goal. He kicked a 24-yard field goal. That was the story of the game. What do I always tell you guys? If you want to know why an outcome was reached, go to 2 stats. That usually tells you the answer. Red zone efficiency, turnovers. In this game, Jacksonville had 1 turnover. The Ravens had 2 turnovers. Jacksonville got into the red zone 5 times, scored 2 touchdowns. The Jags got into the red zone 4 times. They scored 2 touchdowns. That is the difference in the game. If the Ravens score 1 more touchdown on 5 trips, they win the game. It's not even close. But because they turned it over twice, and one of those turnovers, huge, it set up Jacksonville to get back into the game when they were done. They were cooked. Jacksonville comes back. After the Ravens scored the touchdown to make it 27-20, game looked like it was over. And then Jacksonville gets the turnover. They score a touchdown. And they go for 2. And it's a ballsy decision to go for 2 at that point of the game. Ballsy decision. They go for the 2. They get it. And they win the football game. As a matter of fact, I misspoke. The turnover, the fumble was at 19-17, and Jacksonville got a field goal off of it. They got a fumble off of the running back, Gus Edwards. That made it 20-19. They were down 19-17 at that time. Jacksonville gave up the touchdown, and then they made a 10-play, 78-yard march down the field to ultimately score the touchdown, or 10-play, 75-yard touchdown march to score the touchdown and then go for 2 to win the game. And it didn't end without a little scare, because you should have seen, I love Doug Peterson. You should have seen him at the end of the game. He was holding his breath. I mean, his face was so red because they're sending Justin Tucker out there from 67 yards. And we've seen this movie. He hit the 66-yarder last year in Detroit. We all remember that game. They had no business beating the Lions. and he comes in and he doinks that bad boy off the crossbar, and it goes in from 66, which is the new NFL record. They get into, it's not even, you can't even call that field goal range. They're kicking this thing from midfield, essentially. And that thing barely was short. I'm talking about if it was 66, he would have made it. And Doug Peterson, he's thinking, oh my God, this mother effer is about to steal this from us, like he did Detroit last year. And he just ended up short. I was like, wow. He slammed that. He was so happy. He slammed that the headset and shit off. Like, yeah, we won. It was funny. Anyway, Baltimore spoils a great opportunity. When you see teams like Jacksonville on the schedule this late in the season, and they've already declared that while scary and dangerous, they're beatable, you got to take care of business. There's something that's been off with Baltimore since their early season start where they were scoring points. Lamar Jackson was in the MVP discussion. Since then, they've really struggled. They've won games still, but they've struggled, man. And what did we talk about early in the season with Baltimore? Late game collapses, blowing leads, right? Giants game, Dolphins game, right? They did it again in this game. Struggling to hold on to late leads. They do it again. And now they're tied with Cincinnati in the division. Have they played Cincinnati yet? I don't think they have. They did. Oh, it was a Sunday night game. I remember now. Sunday night game, 19-17. So Cincinnati's still technically leading that division, but only due to a tiebreaker. They do play once more, and it will be in the jungle. Is that game week 18? That may be what this division ultimately comes down to. Yes, it is. Week 18 in the jungle. That may be for the division. It ultimately may be for the division. Big win for Jacksonville. Those players love Doug Peterson. I remember after the game hearing one of the players say, I would die for Doug Peterson. I guess that's what happens when you go from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson. I mean, it can't be any more night and day. You can't go from one end of the spectrum to the other end any further than that. So good for those guys. Big win there. Texans, Dolphins. I'll make this one short and sweet. This thing was 30-0 at halftime. Absolute total domination by the Dolphins of a bad Texans football team. Kyle Allen got the start in this game. Didn't play well. 2 interceptions. This, as I mentioned, this game was over at halftime. They took their foot off the gas pedal. Tua was out of this game by the end of 3. Jeff Wilson and just about everybody was done at halftime of this game. This thing, like I said, it's pure domination on the part of the Dolphins. They've got it on tilt right now, man. They scored 30 first half points. This thing was 30-0 at the half. Like, this Dolphins team, I'm telling you, this 49ers game this weekend is going to tell me a lot about them because they're destroying teams and they're putting up points on everybody. Everybody that's anybody, if they can do it next week against San Francisco's stingy defense, that will tell us all we need to know about how dangerous this Dolphins team is, because the 49ers gave it up to the Chiefs. All right. The Chiefs went up and down the field on the 49ers. That was the last team that exposed San Francisco before they got hot and stopped giving up second half points. If the Dolphins can go to San Francisco and run up and down the field on them, then that will make me think less of San Francisco and more of Miami. Texans are now 1-9-1, and for all intents and purposes, they've clinched the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I think no one's even remotely close anymore. I think everyone else has at least 4 wins. I don't think there's a 3-win team in the league. I'm going to check just to be safe. But I kind of feel like they're the only one. They're the only team that doesn't have at least 4 wins in the league. The Bears. Okay, I stand corrected. Denver, Rams, Broncos, Rams, and Bears all have 3 wins. No one has 2. So unless they get hot and win 2 in a row, which isn't going to happen, they're going to have the number 1 pick. And I can't see them spending that on anything but a quarterback. I think it's going to be the Alabama quarterback, honestly speaking. And it should be Bryce Young. Anyway, I digress. Bears, Jets. What a statement by the Jets in this game. Man, this was impressive. I get it. No Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney gets hurt. A lot of guys were out for the Bears. I understand. They're already not a talented team to begin with, but they made a quarterback change to the Jets. We didn't even get to talk about that. That was going to be one of the main topics of discussion on my Thanksgiving video, and I just didn't get it. I didn't get a chance to do it. We'll have to circle back to that because that's a conversation that needs to be had. But anyway, they bench Zach Wilson, rightfully so. Bring in Mike White, and he did exactly what he did last year: galvanize the team, score a bunch of points, play exceptionally well. He did it against the Cincinnati Bengals last year. Everybody was going crazy for Mike White. Then he goes on, national television and lays an egg against the Indianapolis Colts and all of that, fever. It's the same shit that happened with Bailey Zappi this year. Zappy hour and all this bullshit. And then the Bears come to town on a Monday night, completely shit all over Bailey Zappi and the Patriots and put that shit to bed quickly. We'll see if it's more sustainable. Now, it's interesting because after this game, first of all, let's talk about Mike White for a second because he lit it up. Mike White, 22 of 28, 315, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Just ridiculous. It was raining, just like it was in every game, essentially on the East Coast. It was raining, or in the Northeast, rather. It was raining. And he made it look easy. And his coach after the game said he made the easy plays look easy. I think that's a shot at Zach Wilson. But even in the face of what Mike White has done, and his teammates believe in him. Guys after the game were saying, hey, this is a guy we believe in. This is the guy that we know gives us a chance. Like every shot that could be taken at Zach Wilson, they took at the end of this game. Even with that said, they're not giving up on the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. And head coach Robert Saleh said, we're still evaluating the quarterback position. Mike White's playing in the next game, but that's not a definite change. We're going to continue to evaluate the position. And when we think Zach's ready to roll, we'll stick him in there. So this is more like punishment. Like you're grounded. Go to your room, Zach. All right. You're grounded for 2 games. Go sit in your room. Go sit in timeout. Think about what you did. Reflect on what you said. Okay. Watch how Mike handles shit. And then when you come out of your room, mister, okay, you better be ready to play some damn good football or else. So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to give Mike White one more run. Who do they have this week? The Vikings. Spicy. Yeah. Interesting stuff. They're going to give him a run against the Vikes. And then we'll see what happens from there. If he plays well against the Vikings and they go on the road and beat the Minnesota Vikings, how can you take him out? If he goes there, he struggles, they lose, it's easy to bring Zach Wilson back. They got quite the dilemma on their hands, but it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. They were dominant in this game. The Bears had their backup in there, Trevor Siemian. I love games with the battle of the backups because this has been proven time and time again. We saw this earlier with the Rams and the Cardinals with 2 backup quarterbacks playing. Whomever has the better backup is going to win the game. The Jets had the better backup and the better defense, and they win this game in dominant fashion, 31-10. This was probably their most complete game of the season, and they've had some good ones, have the Jets, but this was a thorough ass whooping here that they dished out. This was a collective beatdown of a Bears team that was reeling, and they gave it to them pretty good. Bears are now 3-9, and for all of the people that were just excited about Justin Fields, they still haven't won any games. Jets are 7-4, and for anybody that thought the Jets were going away after the soul-crushing loss to New England, they've won now 2 games in a row, I think. No, this is the first one after that soul-crushing loss. Correct. So they bounce back, and they're not going away. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. There are some teams like that same New England Patriots team that has swept them already. The Chargers. There's some teams at 6-5 knocking on the door. And I don't know if the Jets are going to open it. I don't know if one of those teams is going to just kick the door down and allow themselves in. But this Jets team is fighting, man. I like them, and they're not going away. Panthers and Broncos. Wow. Now, I predicted this. Carolina at home against bad teams are really good. So I predicted Carolina would win this game. But Denver is just so trash. I mean, you watch that game, and it's like they just don't have a chance offensively. There was a little sideline blow up between Russ and a defensive tackle. They downplayed it at the end of the game. Russ was just saying he was trying to hype him up. That's not what it looked like, but whatever. At the end of the day, the Broncos are awful on offense. Their defense is so good. They actually got beat up defensively in this game, though. And I think that's a byproduct of just their offense being so bad, they're getting worn down. But Sam Darnold made his first start of the season. They've been playing quarterback musical chairs in Carolina this year. And he came in. He didn't do much, 11-19, 164. It's not like he came in and started slinging it all over the football field, but he was steady. He didn't make any mistakes. And they turned around and they handed the football off 46 times. 24 for Deontay Foreman, who went for 24 for 113. 17 to Chuba Hubbard, 17 for 65 for him. And so they just ran the shit out of football. Like, we know you suck on offense. We're not going to turn it over. We're just going to run the football. If you can stop it, cool. If you don't, that's great for us. Either way, we're just not going to give you an opportunity to turn Sam over. They didn't. Sam tried to fumble it on the goal line, right? But this is when you know you're living right. Ball bounces up. Sam falls on it and rolls into the end zone and scores a touchdown anyway. That's when you know you're living right. 23-10 is the final in this game. Russell Wilson, 19 of 35 for 142 yards. It just gets worse and worse every week. They don't even look like a semblance of a pass offense now. Latavius Murray was the one bright spot, 13 carries, 92 yards. But offensively, they just are a mess. I mean, golly, their pass game is just gross. It's nasty. You could blame it on Russ's injury. You could blame it on the head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. It's a lot of moving parts here, man. There's a lot fundamentally wrong with what they're doing in Denver. And I think a larger discussion needs to be had because changes have to be made. Like, you can't run this back next year. But what do you change? I think the only thing you can really change is Nathaniel Hackett. They can't possibly move on from Russell Wilson. And you don't have the draft capital to do it. You can't possibly move on from him, right? I don't know, man. That's a crazy situation. Let's get to two of the most entertaining games of the day. We start in Arizona with the Cardinals hosting the Chargers. 25-24 is the final here. Chargers get the win in epic come-from-behind fashion. Let me just say this. The Cardinals had every opportunity to not only win this game, but to destroy and blow out the Chargers, and they simply wanted no parts of winning this game. Even down to the final possession, right? They sacked Justin Herbert. The score is 24-17. The Chargers are on the move. Herbert is sacked on third down and long, back around midfield. It forces them. They want to go for it, but it's like 4th and 20 now after the sack. They got to punt. So they punt the football. And they pin the Cardinals inside the 10-yard line. And they go backwards on the possession. They run it on first down. They try to throw it with Kyler Murray. Again, why aren't you running like some form of read option or something? They try to drop Kyler Murray back. He takes a sack down at like the 2-yard line. They run it on third down just to create a little bit of space. And they give it right back to the Chargers with great field position. And not only do they have a nice return from DeAndre Carter on the ensuing punt return, they also have a penalty on the Cardinals that adds 5 yards to the end of the run. So they're in great field position. They move it down the field. Herbert throws a touchdown pass. They run a beautiful 2-point conversion play. They go for 2, take the lead, and win the football game. And they had no business being in this game. The Chargers made so many mistakes. They had such great field position at the beginning of this game. They had so many opportunities. They should have been up 20-3 at halftime. They dominated this game. And yet I think the score might have been 13-10. Let me check and see what the score was at halftime. I mean, this was utterly ridiculousness. It was 17-14 at halftime. It should have been 20-3 or 10 at halftime. They dominated this game. They got after Justin Herbert. They sacked him 4 or 5 times. They harassed him. They had opportunities to pick him off. I mean, the Cardinals are just a mess. They just don't know how to win. But also, you got to give credit to Justin Herbert, man. Damn, he's a beast. He continues to do it. First of all, the Chargers' run defense is disgusting. Oh, my God. James Conner was doing whatever he pleased against them. 25 carries, 120 yards. The Chargers have no semblance of a run game. Herbert was their leading rusher. 4 carries, 38 yards. He's got to do it by himself. And he did it. 35 of 47, 274, 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. This guy's insane, man. This guy's insane. Chargers are 6-5 and still alive in the AFC. And the other really fun game of the day in Week 12 on Sunday, Raiders, Seahawks. What a game. This thing got off to a rousing start. And similar, like this game had everything. The very first play of the game was a Derek Carr interception by Quandre Diggs, who picked Derek Carr up twice on the afternoon. And so that was a tone setter of what was to come, what this day would be. It was crazy. You throw an interception, I throw an interception. You score a touchdown, I score a touchdown. It was tit for tat. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. That's what these two teams were doing. And they were just bickering back and forth. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. And that's how you end up in overtime. Tied. All right. And Josh Jacobs started slow in this game. Boy, did he have a field day. I mean, there's 300-yard all-purpose days, and then there's 300-yard all-purpose days. Okay. And that was the case in this game. He caught it, he ran it, and then the 86-yarder in overtime to win it was just the icing on the cake. Had he not had that, he still would have had a 200-yard performance, and it still would have been super impressive. But nonetheless, what a game. Derek Carr, he fought his balls off in this game. I was talking about Derek Carr, and he threw the 2 picks, but he also threw 3 touchdowns, including the touchdown at the end of regulation to tie the game up at 34 apiece to the tight end, Foster Moreau. 25 of 36 for 295. He fought, man. Like I told Derek, and I called him, I said, yo, hey, look, 4 Carr. I'm just going to tell you like this, bro. Y'all keep losing. You're going to entice them to replace you at the quarterback position and trade you in the offseason. You got 1 or 2 options right now. You can either keep down the same path you're going and end up somewhere else like Washington or Indy next year, or you could start winning some football games, dude. It's on you. Whatever you want to do. I'm just letting you know what's going to happen. He's like, yo, I hear you, man. I just got my boy here. I got to stay here. All right, man. Then you better start winning some games. And now they've won 2 in a row. And this one was improbable. Didn't see this one coming, honestly. Didn't see them going to Seattle and winning. But this is the old Seahawks. Early in the season, remember, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. They were giving up all kinds of points. They were scoring, but they were giving up all kinds of points. And then all of a sudden, they started stopping teams, and we're like, hey, maybe they fixed their defense. Gave up 9 to the Cardinals, 23 to the Chargers, 13 to the Giants, 21 to the Bucks, 21 to the Cardinals. And you're thinking all of a sudden, oh, they're fixed. They're playing defense. And then they give up 40 to the Raiders. Early in the season, they gave up 27 to the Falcons, 45 to the Lions, 39 to the Saints. So they were giving up points. I don't think they're going to go back to that. Like, they're playing the Rams this week. If they give up 20 points to the Rams this week, that's problematic. Okay, they're going to win. They need to do it in dominant fashion. I get it. It's family business, but this isn't normal family business. Okay. There's too many different moving parts with the Rams. They should go in there and dominate that game. But that's a soul crushing loss. You should have seen the players and the fans after this game. I'm watching this thing, and the players are in disbelief after the 86-yarder. The fans look like they don't want to go home, like they're about to sit down in their seat and just sit there. And one of the groundskeepers or one of the stadium maintenance people are gonna have to say, "Hey, sir, you got to go. We're about to turn the lights out." Like, they look despondent after this game. They went from being delirious, screaming, to like they didn't know what to do. It was crazy. What a win for the Raiders. I mean, they're done. They're 4-7. They're playing out the string, but Seattle, this is a big one for them. 6-5 now, out of the playoffs, lose first place in their division. They go from first place in the NFC West and the number 3 seed in the NFC to out of the playoffs altogether in one fell swoop. 49ers take over first place. Washington takes over the 7 seed. They're now on the outside looking in as the 8 seed. Better get your shit together if you are the Seattle Seahawks. And then 2 more games on the Sunday docket. Rams and Chiefs. Look, the Rams are not a good team. And look, they don't have the parts right now. You know, they're trotting out the kid from Virginia, Bryce Perkins at quarterback. I mean, bless his heart. I mean, 13 of 23 for 100 yards and a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He was their leading rusher. That's part of the problem in LA with the Rams is they can't run the football. Both of the LA teams, for that matter, don't run the football well enough. But I mean, they don't have anything at the receiver position right now with Cooper Kupp out. Then they lose, a guy that really hasn't fit their team this year, but still gave them another option. Why am I blank? Allen Robinson, he was out of this game, and so they really don't have anything, And this wasn't a great performance by Mahomes. He threw a terrible red zone interception in this game, but I mean, they knew, again, know thy opponent. They knew they didn't have to do much. They just don't give the Rams short fields and allow them to score. He threw an end zone pick. So they still had to go the length of the field with it. They're not capable of doing that. So 26-10 is the victory for the Chiefs. Rams are 3-8. Chiefs are 9-2, and the best record right now in the AFC. 49ers blanked the Saints 13-0. New Orleans hadn't been shut out since 2001. As you can see, not a lot of offensive fireworks in this game, but this was more about the defense of both teams. I thought the Saints defensively gave the Saints offense as many opportunities as you could ask for, and obviously you just couldn't get it done. Alvin Kamara had 2 fumbles in this game. He had 7 carries for 13 yards, and he had a fumble on a catch down by the goal line. He had a fumble on a run in the middle of the football field. So he struggled in this game. They put the wraps on him, and they said, "Hey, Taysom, that shit ain't working today. Andy's going to have to beat us." And Andy tried, but Andy needs help. Andy can't carry a team. And so this 49ers defense continues to be dominant. That's the 3rd straight week. They have not given up a second half touchdown. And so now it's going to get tough, though. Dolphins, Bucks, both at home, but Raiders, they're going to have some games here where we're going to find out about this defense, especially this coming week against the Dolphins. If their defense is as good as we think it is, then they won't completely stop and shut down the Dolphins, but they'll slow them down. The Dolphins are scoring 30 on everybody. If they slow them down and this is a 23-20 type of game, they're legit on defense. If the Dolphins ring up 27, 30, 33 on them, then what the 49ers have been doing defensively is a mirage, and they'll do it to a lesser team. They just won't do it to the high-octane teams. So we're going to find out a lot about both of those teams in that game, but This is a dominant performance by the 49ers defense as they get it done 13-0. And again, here's the formula for the 49ers, right? Don't turn it over, which they did not turn it over in this game. And Jimmy Garoppolo, be efficient, 26 of 37, 222, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and run the football. 26 carries, 96 yards. That's it. That's the formula. So somebody stops it, that's the formula. So that's the slate on Sunday. All right. We'll finish up the show with our last segment. And of course, garbage time. And so I'm just going to read the super chats. And I will quickly give you a brief synopsis of what I think is going to happen on Thursday Night Football. Clapping Big Dirty Bird Cheeks. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, favorite Thanksgiving dish, these nuts. You got yourself. Okay. I guess that was an easy setup. I threw the lob, right? I threw the alley. All you had to do was dunk that. Louie's mommy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, well, excuse the F out of me. I told y'all to keep y'all mouth shut, man. Remind me never to do a crime with any of y'all. Okay. Anyway, B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, just me, or does Najee give Trent Rich vibes? I thought he did in his rookie season. I think he's been much better this season. I don't get Trent Richardson vibes. He's much better than him. But I'm not gonna lie to you. That first year, I felt like this looks eerily similar, but he's a much better athlete. He's not tight-hipped like Trent Richardson was, who couldn't change directions. He doesn't lack vision like Trent Richardson did. He's a good football player. But I can understand why you would feel that way. But I don't think he's that at all. But it crossed my mind very briefly in his rookie season, I will say. Spanking midget cheeks 3 weeks. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, with a bunch of clapping emojis. All right. Got another super chat, I think, and I do. From Rosario Satara Polsky. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, it's winter. Can we get LTN Command Post hoodies? I'm coming, bro. I promise you, I'm coming. Hang with me. Hang tough. I'm coming. I promise. I promise. I need a damn hoodie myself, so I'm coming, man. Hang in there. Suplexes are us. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, it's an emergency. I'm a UPS driver. I have the bubble guts and there's no bathroom in sight. Pray for me, please. Oh, Lord, no more Taco Bell. You had to learn the hard way. I stopped eating Taco Bell at the age of 13. Taco Bell is some of the nastiest, unsanitary, and unsafe food that you can eat. Anytime they're giving away food, they create shit and then give it away to you for like 99 cents. That means these ingredients aren't safe. And you should not be putting them in your body. So whatever happens to you, you deserve it because you should know better. Taco Bell is not safe. Not safe. Okay? I don't care if you're drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning. Go to Waffle House. That shit's not safe either, but it's safer than damn Taco Bell. I hope you make it to the bathroom, though. But whatever happens, let this be a lesson. Okay? Let this be a lesson. Suplexes are us. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, who writes, I don't know what to do, Lou. I don't know what to do. Son of a B. Hey, look, I've been there. We've all been there. Okay. In my past life, I would be as far as Williamsburg. From where I live, that's a good hour away, 45 minutes away, at where I was living at the time. And I could tell you some stories about, you know what? I'll save one of those for a throwback podcast. Just know I've been there. The struggle is real. Clinch as tight as you can. No subtle movements. You'll be fine. Suplexes are us. F it. I'm pulling Lamar Jackson. I don't give a F. YOLO. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means I'm just going to go. I don't know if that means I'm going to pull over and I'm going to just squat in the nearest woods. I don't even know what that means. It doesn't sound good, though. And it sounds like you're going to be walking around with a shitty ass. And if that's the case, shame on you. Shame on you. Look, if you're a UPS driver, pull over, find the nearest bathroom and use it, man. You don't have time to be picky right now. Okay? But as a wise man once told me, don't be mad. UPS is hiring. Devon do care. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, writes Lou. I really, really wish Taylor could be the guy for the future. I really like him as a face for the team, but he just can't be, and it's disappointing. Thank you for the super chat, Devon do care. Yeah, he can't be the face, but he can be on the team. And after this season, he'll get an extension to remain in Washington, and he'll be a great backup quarterback. But he can't be the starter. He just can't be. Not if you're trying to maximize the talent that you have on the team. You have to be able to do better than Taylor Heinicke at quarterback. But for right now, for what this team is, for what we're doing this season, he's the man for the job. Miss Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, turn on the notification or subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and as always, like the video. So I'm going to take this time after that public service announcement by my girl Condo P to call to action. Like the video, subscribe to the LouieTeeNetwork for more great content, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Thank you, Miss Perry. Spanking midget cheeks 3 weeks. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, as long as he doesn't think about sitting and releasing, he should be fine. Yeah. Like if you're already sitting down, stay seated. Okay. Stay seated. You're going to have to clench like hell because it's a tough position to be in. But even when you get up, that's not cool either. But move slowly. Move slowly and clench tight. The closer you get to the bathroom, it's like your body knows. So you're going to have to be ready to zip down and be ready to just release upon contact of the toilet. So understand that if you've been here before, then you know the procedure, right? Suplexes are us. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I don't think I've ever clenched this hard in my life. Again, I've been there before, man. been there before, completely been there before. And I'm just telling you right there, man. F it. Let's ride. All right. I hope you got right, man. I hope you got right. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 301st installment of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. You guys are hilarious. Can't thank you enough for chopping it up with the kid. Look forward to getting with you guys. If you're a Washington fan, I'll see you later on tonight. If you are a non-Washington fan, I'll see you tomorrow. Bills and Patriots. Real quick. Bills at Patriots. The Bills are the better team. The Patriots it's family business. Patriots know them. If the weather isn't inclement, if there's not a ridiculous 37-mile-an-hour gust or, just infinite downpour, which would even the playing field. If it's a normal New England Patriots Foxborough night, just a little crisp, cool air and, good football weather, the Bills are going to go in there and they're going to take care of business because they're the better team. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. I think this Bills team is totally different than the team we saw early in the season that defensively was getting after with all the injuries that they've had defensively, some of the injuries that they've got offensively. They're not the same team. But they're good enough to beat New England. And so I think that gets done. 26-17, the Bills win that game and take the lead, reestablish the lead in the AFC East, even if only for 3 days. We'll see what the Dolphins do on the road at San Francisco. But I digress. Suplexes are us. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Clint so hard I almost passed out. Core workout. Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man. And sometimes you got to clench as hard as you human. Because if you don't, it's over. It's over. You know, you clench so hard that you start shaking, right? That's how hard you were clenching. Like you can feel your ass cheeks like vibrating, you know. It's a rough existence. But you did it to yourself. Taco Bell, I don't feel bad for you. Spanking midget cheeks 3 weeks. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, bro, gonna be viral tomorrow on someone's Ring camera taking a ploop in a flower pot. Hey, everybody, Smokey back here taking an ish. If we see one of those, we know who it was. We know it was Suplexes or us. Chaotic. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chaotic. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, if we beat the Giants, then our next game get moved to Saturday or Sunday night. I have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to do. We'll see. Louie's mommy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we got to have a talk, son. Call me. Not looking forward to that conversation. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. I look forward to chopping it up with you either tonight or tomorrow after the conclusion of Patriots Bills. Until then, hey, Suplexes are us, man. Stay away from Taco Bell, bro. You've been warned. All right. That's all I can say to you. Anyway, you guys have a great one. Take care. And as always, get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. God bless and good night.